Hello everybody, this is going to be Jund League number 23, and doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be trying out 3 Tireless Tracker. In order to make room to do so, I have cut down the 3 Lilianas of the Veil. I am now playing a single Scavenging Ooze, and I have also trimmed on Bloodbraid Elf. I trimmed on Bloodbraid Elf because in terms of staying power slash card advantage, Tracker and Elf kind of do it similarly. Cut down on Liliana. I didn't really want to cut down on the Liliana, but I wanted to keep my total number of high mana costed cards relatively low, so I didn't want to cut Kolaghan's Command, and I didn't want to cut the Pulse, so Liliana was the only real place to do that after cutting a Bloodbraid. And then I cut a Scavenging Ooze, which I'm also not super stoked about. I don't like having a light amount of graveyard interaction, especially in the main deck. But having the 2 Cling to Dusts to also kind of fulfill that role makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. So that's why I trimmed it in those 3 places, here, here, and here. Still playing 2 Terminate. I haven't really had any scenarios where I had a non-creature permanent that I needed to kill with like a Trophy or Decay, so the Terminates have been pretty great for me. Still playing a split of 3 Lightning Bolt and 3 Fatal Push, mainly a consideration for the Prowess decks that are now playing lots of mutagenic growths, which Bolt does not kill a creature through. Still the traditional 4-2 split of Inquisitions to Thoughtseizes, and of course I mentioned already the 2 Cling to Dust. The reason I've chosen the Tireless Trackers as my next testing tool, I've had a lot of games where I really lacked the closing power. My only real big hitter is the Tarmogoyf and arguably Bloodbraid Elf. Bloodbraid obviously costing 4, so I wanted to introduce another heavy hitter that also allowed me to stay in the fight with things like Temur Uro, Bant Uro, and even Sultai Uro, because Uro is Uro and the decks that it goes in tend to be card generation monsters, and Tireless Tracker may be able to keep up with that. In addition to growing quite large, and I like the subtle synergies between things like it, Liliana of the Veil, and obviously Ren and 6. So before explaining my decisions for the sideboard, let's take a sneak peek at the meta. As I mentioned, Uro piles pretty big right now. They're coming in at first. I believe this encompasses both the Temur and the Bant versions. Sultai has been less popular, but I think it may be encompassed in there as well. Blitz still coming in at second. Gruul crept up to third. Blue-white control / Stoneblade was originally first a few weeks ago, crept down all the way to 8, but now is back up to 4. Lyris Aggro back up to 5. And then luckily, either version of Tron slowly creeping down to slots 7 and 8 following Burn. And then our hero Jund in its 11th place slot. It's been hovering kind of between 10 and 12 for the past few weeks, and it's found a home over there, I think. So let's look at the sideboard. So there were a few graveyard strategies that we saw, or at least decks that can use the graveyard but aren't necessarily graveyard oriented, i.e. Uro. So for those decks, we've got things like Spellbomb and Ashiok in addition to Klothys. If we play against any hyper aggro decks, we've got Klothys, although slow, but gaining life can be good. We've also got stuff like 3 Collective Brutalities. Against the creature combo decks, or even just creature decks in general, we've got some Plague Engineers. They've also got subtle uses like against Storm. If they try to empty the warrens, we can name Goblin, get rid of that. And then for all the island decks like that we usually have maybe a 45 to 50% win rate against, we've got stuff like Boil, and additionally things like Ashiok help, things like Collective Brutality help, and Klothys helps in that regard as well. In terms of more devoted land hate, Boil still follows along those lines. We're adding in a Pillage in case we get things like Eldrazi Tron. I've felt it to be pretty good against Ponza now, and basically anything that has a heavy dependence on lands like Eldrazi Tron, regular Tron. For Pillage is probably better to hit an artifact versus Eldrazi Tron, but still good there. Also good against stuff like Amulet Titan that have lands that produce multiple, and also for killing the amulet itself. Additionally, we're playing 2 Alpine Moons. I've mentioned in the past that I prefer the Alpine Moon to the Damping Sphere, at least out of Jund's being the Bloodbraid deck. I really don't like the Cascade card costing an additional mana. Additionally, I like how Alpine Moon has the utility in that it is able to shut off things like Fields of the Dead or Valakut the Molten Pinnacle, whereas Damping Sphere cannot. So that is why I've got the sideboard that I do. And with that said, let us jump into a match. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds fine. Nothing too exciting about this, but we've got interaction and a powerful 4-mana play. Generally pretty hard to ship 2 castable early spells and the lands to play them, especially in the dark. If we're playing against something like a creature deck, this hand's probably going to be pretty good. If we're playing against something like Tron, it's going to be much worse. Pendelhaven might mean Infect. Oh, it's Scales. Okay. This hand is, I'm assuming, okay versus Scales. Usually I think I would want to get a Stomping Ground here, but that doesn't let me have the option of playing either Fatal Push or Lightning Bolt. If I'm going to reserve myself to playing Lightning Bolt now, then Stomping Ground's finally an okay grab. And I think more likely than not we're okay just bolting something. They do have Pendelhaven to give stuff +1/+2, but I don't think that's going to come up given most of their stuff is going to enter with an additional counter anyway. So I'll probably just play an Overgrown Tomb tapped. I could play Swamp and be super conservative. Let's just see what we hit, because if we hit like a Goyf or something, it just doesn't matter. Alright, so let's just go Tomb tapped and say go. I haven't played against Scales in a long while. More Scales. Alright, so unfortunately Bolt unlikely to do a whole lot. Oh, they kept a 1-lander with multiple Scales, so hopefully their hand isn't like actual insane after this. Not the worst. Let's play this tapped. Playing a bit of the control deck role right now. As long as the opponent doesn't hit lands, they can only deploy a few things a turn. I think we're going to be able to catch up just fine. Like, if this is their only play, we can just bolt this pretty easily. Alright, they won't actually get to modular onto anything, which is pretty good for us. Using them both now because it's not going to be much better later. Push can kill something almost no matter what the size. Alright, and we're going to Bloodbraid onto an empty board, which is pretty nice. Alright, and there's a Goyf too. There's now a decision as to like what we want to cast. Do we just want to cast the Goyf or the Bloodbraid? I think I'm going to be mana efficient and just go with the Bloodbraid. In terms of clock, it's relatively the same, but we have the potential of hitting something very good. Thoughtseize is okay. We're going to get to see their Greedy Keep. Alright, well, their animation modules don't actually make anything. Their Mimic we can kill. It doesn't actually enter with a counter. I think their most annoying card is going to be the Hangerback, so let's just take that. Because that would enter with 3 counters. Like, them playing a Ballista for 1, but actually 3 doesn't really mean a whole lot to us. But them making a 3/3 that bursts into 3 1/1s at least seems pretty annoying. Especially with every additional counter they put on it. It means there's actually 3 counters and 3 bodies. And then next turn, I think I'm likely to just Bloodbraid and hold up a Fatal Push. Continuing to be mana efficient. So that, of course, is their new card. And they do not reveal a land. Wow. So obviously, Bloodbraid has the fail rate here of hitting a removal spell and then not actually getting extra value. But I mean, attacking for 3 is some amount of value. Ooh, that actually I think changes it, because now we have an efficient play where we can go Tracker into land plus Tarmogoyf, and that'll really turn the heat up. So this is going to apply max pressure as quickly as possible. Like, sure, Bloodbraid attacks for 3 now, but this is going to be an extra attack for 8 next turn, guaranteed. Alright, and they've just scooped. Yeah, they just needed to hit the land. They kept a greedy one with 2 scales. I mean, they're on the play, so it's probably kind of risky. Alright, so they are playing scales. So I'm pretty sure we want Pillage. Pretty sure we want Engineer to name stuff like Thopter. Like, we don't want a Hangerback Walker bursting into a bunch of 1/1s. Consideration to Brutality just because it might kill something, but I don't think maybe killing something is going to be good enough. We're on the draw, so stuff like Hand Disruption is weaker. I don't actually think Cling to Dust is going to do much of anything here. And then amongst all of these, Thoughtseize may be the weakest. I don't really think Ashiok and Klothys are going to have a whole lot of utility. Boyle obviously not going to do much. Brutality isn't taking any instants or sorceries other than like Ancient Stirrings. Spellbomb doesn't actually affect Modular at all. We could like try to be cheeky with an Alpine Moon, turn off a land, but I don't think we want to use a card to turn off like an Inkmoth or something, although we could. I think this is okay. The only card that I would even consider playing out of this sideboard is like this other Thoughtseize we took out. Maybe we want the Thoughtseize over something like another like big mana play. I mean, these are pretty bad draws though. I think on the play I'll bring the Thoughtseize back in when we have a higher likelihood of sniping their 1 Hardened Scales. But while we're on the draw and they get to just play it. Ronnie Huan, thanks for the follow. Yeah, Sand's pretty good. Lots of ways to kill stuff and some good threats. We're going to need a land or 2, but we've got an answer to pretty much anything they could do early. Okay, so it looks like in response to whatever they do, I'll just kill their thing. The only way this could bite us is if they play a creature land, like an Inkmoth or a Blinkmoth, and then like they attack with this, and then I kill it in response, they put it on their thing. But this early, if they're using their turn doing that, I think I'm okay. They did mulligan once. Alright, there's the Inkmoth. The Ozlith. Alright, so in response to this, I should probably kill this. Again, Bolt is least likely to kill things later on because stuff might have counters on them via the Ozlith. That may be something we're interested in pulsing down the line. Inquisition's a nice one. They could have Veil of Summer, which would be pretty unfortunate. But, I mean, it's like if they're probably not going to put it down ever unless they tap out for something. I mean, if they've got it, they've got it, and it's unfortunate. But that means that Fatal Push, that means it won't be protected by something later when we try to cast a Fatal Push. But they don't have it, and we get to take a Throne. Pretty good. Alright, and then we'll just go land. I'll play the land that has the ability to let me Fatal Push. So they are land off of a Karn, which could be problematic at some point. Alright, I'll wait until they attack, so this is tapped. Alright, well, kind of still doesn't matter. And I really like this play for us, because they're now 1 land off of Karning again. And again, I'll wait until they tap it. Alright, so this will be Overgrown Tomb. So now we can shock and play tracker. Unless something happens. Alright, probably a good time to play tracker. I could do something like pulse, but that play is going to be available next turn, and this play advances the board at least. So in the ideal world, they do close to nothing, and then we draw like a fetch land to trigger tracker twice, and then cast a Bloodbraid on an empty board. Ballista, yep. Though they didn't put mana into it. That's unfortunate. Oops. What's up, Ian? When does Twitch send me the fat check for ad revenue? No idea, but it's linked to my checking account, so I think it'll just do it automatically at some point. It was Ian. El Bonk. Yeah, sounds pretty good. We got turn 1 disruption into a fast clock, followed up by some other goodies. I see nothing wrong. Alright, Winslow Teeth. So I'm hoping that's not meaning red-green, but it very well could be. Alright, it's red-green. That was a good draw. That makes me want to get Forest with the Verdant on turn 2. We run the risk of, if the opponent has double Blood Moon effect in either like Magus or Blood Moon itself. But I don't think we can get the Swamp now, because then we're definitely not casting Wrenn and 6. All right, we can take the Moon though. Ronnie, I am testing Tireless Tracker. I think it could be good, so that's what we're trying to figure out. This is actually the first league I've played with the tracker in a long time, maybe a year. Alright, and the opponent has kindly shown us the card that we did not know about. So Seasoned Pyromancer is going to be kind of annoying if they make more than one elemental, because I'm only going to get 1 turn's worth of value off of their end. Alright, they just ditched the lands? Okay. So this Wrenn and 6 is going to get to do at least a little work. We could use this turn just to get down a Goyf. Goyf is pretty hard for them to deal with in general. But I think we're gonna want to guarantee playing a Swamp next turn, which getting back Verdant lets us, assuming they haven't drawn a Blood Moon. And I do think that Forest is more important than Swamp versus them, because things that they have a hard time dealing with, like Tarmogoyf and Bloodbraid, they don't have a hard time dealing with Bloodbraid, but it's something you can cast that's powerful and can win the game. Those get cast off of Forest, not Swamp. Like, Liliana doesn't win the game, it just makes it easier for us to win. Alright, that card's very good. We have a Cling to negate 1 activation at some point. Alright, and the opponent missed lands after discarding 2 of them. We even drew a Swamp, so that's not bad. I think I want to probably just cast a Goyf here off of a basic Swamp. We can get it back and then get more green next turn. I just really want to insulate versus the Blood Moon, make them dead cards if we can. And then whatever they target with the Clothis, we can Cling to Dust for a turn. Just negate 1 activation for now. I'm assuming they're going to go for the Inquisition. Going for a Stomping Ground. Oh, they want mana? We're not going to let that happen. So not only have we denied them a mana and drawn a card, we have negated their mini lightning helix for the turn. Cloth is still going to be a pretty big headache over the next few turns. Like, we imagine this game's going to go like 4 or 5 more turns at least. Let's assume it's 4. That makes us that puts us at an effective 10 and them at an effective 26. Plus, it may end up shrieking or Goyf, which is on the annoying side. So they tried to make a mana while they drew the land. That makes me think they've got a powerful 5. It's probably either Glorybringer or Greater Gargaroth, which means how am I going to... I should probably be prepared for that. I've got Liliana to Edict either, but if it's a Glorybringer, I'm going to want to have Terminate up as an instant speed answer. So if they can shrink like my Tarmogoyf with their Colossus in the same turn Exert, maybe they can't. Although creature is currently not in the yard. Both on red. But yeah, Ian, it's definitely a pretty good combo with Run and 6, the tracker. Are they just going to play a 4-3? And they only have 2 of them, you know, one is a Bone Crusher. I'm pretty sure I want to play second Tarmogoyf next turn almost no matter what. Pulse one time. Yeah, I mean, if we draw Pulse, I'm not even sure that I'd target Utopia Sprawl. We may want to just kill a creature. Also, Seasoned Pyromancer making more 1/1s out of the yard may come up at some point. We do need to close this game relatively quickly because the longer we play this game, the longer the bigger a headache this Colossus is going to be. And unfortunately, Maelstrom Pulse does not kill Colossus because it has this indestructible keyword on it, which is really annoying. Oh, looks like they had disconnected briefly. And to note, this is another matchup where I'm very happy I've got Terminate over something like Trophy or Decay. Because giving the opponent a land here could actually hurt us. And obviously Decay doesn't kill anything huge. So it looks like this turn is going to be probably play basic Swamp and play a Tarmogoyf, hold up, Terminate. I don't feel ahead, given that their 1 card in hand is probably pretty scary. This could be an okay window to Liliana minus, but they'll probably just get rid of the Seasoned Pyromancer and then pretty much anything turns their Colossus back on. I think I have to save the Terminate for whatever their big payoff card is, like the Glorybringer or the Greater Gargaroth. So they're both going at Ren. I can let red go to 1, but I actually don't intend on getting a land back next turn. I think I'll just take the opportunity to kill their thing. And this does mean my red is dying, but that's fine. Gwyff is going to be really large for a turn. I even have a second one. Inquisition, not bad. I think this attack may have been a mistake from the opponent because it makes their Colossus hard to turn on, unless they intend on having it turned on again. I think I'm just going to jam for 6, play second Gwyff, hold up, terminate. I don't think they're inclined to block here because it makes it harder for their Colossus to be turned on as a creature. And again, they do know about Verdant because that's what I've been looping with the Wren. Okay, that's good for me. Alright, so let's go Swamp, Tarmogoyf, and then hold up a Terminate. So if they go something like Gargaroth or whatever to turn on Colossus, I can let them make their attack because maybe they attack all, and then killing something in combat means their Colossus will be turned off. Alright, and they're eating instant. Little do they know I plan on adding one. They didn't need the mana this time either. That's pretty weird to me. Oh, I guess they didn't have access to the 5th mana. So my read is they have to have something that costs 5 mana. Bloodbraid. Okay, well they could have done that last turn. So maybe the thing in their hand still costs 5. They figured this may turn the clock faster. I don't really know. Alright, let's just wait and see how they attack. Because if they attack all, they're like kind of forced to throw the rest of their board under the bus. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do now is I could just terminate the Bloodbraid. The issue is I'm not sure if I'll beat a Gargaroth without it. Yeah, so let's kill a Bloodbraid. That'll turn off Colossus. Like a Bolt is going to kill a Tarmogoyf that blocks no matter what, but I'm not going to just get hit for this for free when I could just also block. Like if their last card's a Bolt, then the board is my Gwyff versus your Arbor Elf and a Colossus that I have a Liliana for at some point. So now let's block. Okay, and if they Bolt this, then okay. Like I said, my read is still that it's a 5 mana play, unless they wanted to double spell with a Bolt, which it may be. Alright. Alright, it's not a Bolt. Pretty good. And we drew a Bolt. Alright, so now it's Liliana. That does just kill them. We get to minus targeting them. Make sure they can't block. I mean, everything just kind of lined up beautifully this game. We were able to take their Blood Moon that they were going to turn 2. We had a Tarmogoyf on 2. Or, sorry, we had a Wrenn 6 on 2. Then we went Gwyff into double spell. Sweet, so we take a game. I think this matchup's probably pretty difficult in general. Alright, so red-green. Bring in a Colossus of our own. We can bring in Pillage. I like Plague Engineer because we can name Elemental. Spellbomb can be okay. Just because of their Seasoned Pyromancers, but we've got some other answers to that already. I don't think Kolagon Screen actually kills a whole lot. Additionally, they could be bringing in Obstinate Baloth. They usually cut down the 2 Lilianas. I think Cling probably still okay here. Can counter Colossus activations as it did and get rid of the Seasoned Pyromancer in a pinch. I think I'm gonna cut let's cut an Inquisition. It's pretty important to take their turn 2 Blood Moon as we did on the first game. And I like Thoughtseize a lot more than the Inquisitions here because Thoughtseize can take stuff like Bloodbraid, Gargaroth, Glorybringer, the like. So this hand, I think surface level seems pretty good, but we can't beat a Blood Moon, and we don't have an early Goyf. I think I'm gonna ship. This is better. We can at least get Swamp. We've got all of our colors. We can name Elemental with this, and if their accelerant is a elf, we get to kill it. Alright, fair enough. Clothis, not bad. That might make me want to get green, but I don't really have the ability to do so. So I guess in a pinch I'll get Swamp if I have to. What's up, James? We're 1-0 so far, so doing pretty good. Please no Blood Moon. Alright, that is not a Blood Moon. If we want, we could even fetch basic Swamp and Fatal Push. Alright, so I guess they're just digging for lands. I kind of think we want to. It's going to be annoying for the tracker. So I think the ideal scenario here is we draw a way to get basic green. Terminate could be worse. Alright, so I could just get in Overgrown Tomb painlessly, or I could hold up Terminate. I think I want to hold up Terminate, because if they play League of Bloodbraid here, or really anything, I may want to kill it. And the next turn I can shock, probably play either Clothis or the Engineer. Yeah, I chose Tracker over Seasoned Pyromancer because Tracker actually has the ability to win the game on its own, where Seasoned Pyromancer, like filtering innately, doesn't win the game by itself, whereas Tracker can. Tracker definitely hits a lot harder too. Alright, so now we have the decision between Plague Engineering their Elf or their Elemental. I think I'm going to name Elf just because it gives them more mana. And the 2/2 body of the Engineer blocks the Elementals anyway. I could use this turn to Clothis, but I think cutting them off mana is probably going to be more important. So if they do something huge this turn, could be annoying. So let's name Elf with this. Go. Oh, you're right. I do see that, Ian. Thanks. I don't know why that's there. Yeah, right here. I'll have to figure that out in a sec. The browser's not up. There's nothing there on my screen here. It only shows up there. Don't know why that is. I'll have to look into it. Okay, maybe. Let me give it a shot. Have to unlock it. One moment. Let's try that. Yep, that worked, I think. Alright, let me know if that's better. Thanks.
Yeah, it went away. It didn't go away until I hit refresh.
I understand. Ooh, and we drew Pulse. So it's pretty clear they don't have a ridiculously large payoff. I mean, the longer Clothis is in play, the better it gets. So I think I want to cast Clothis. I'm nervous if the opponent finds a Blood Moon, we'll be cut off all of our green spells, but that's going to be the case for anything. Let's get the Clothis down so it can start doing its thing. And then we'll hope they don't have some ridiculous payoff. Pretty sure I should just pulse their big first thing. I'll take 2 again. And interesting that they don't have Bolt or Stomp or anything like that. Are they just flooded? Yeah, not blocking this. So I will quickly remind myself. So if it's a land, I make mana and anything else is deal 2. They didn't do anything? I do not know what could be happening. We do Ravine, not bad. So I think we go Tracker into Ravine now. Let's get rid of a Seasoned Pyromancer. I guess they could just get rid of it in response, which doesn't seem great. Let's get rid of an Elf. Gain some life, shoot you for 2, hopefully. Right, and Tracker is pretty big here, but I kind of feel like if they had a removal spell, they probably would have used it on the Engineer by now. So let's get the Tracker down and then play a land. I'll take 2 again. That doesn't seem like a big deal. Say okay to this. And just pass. I could attack now, but I don't really feel like letting them double block. They're also probably making 2 more elementals at end step here. And again, I didn't target it with the Clothis as they just activated it in response. And this looks like an okay Maelstrom Pulse target, assuming they don't do something else huge here. And assuming Tracker doesn't die, that's the thing I'm pretty happy to be down before the Blood Moon, because I could get value off of any land no matter what. And I think it'll be safe from dying as soon as I get it to 5 toughness, because then it can't even get Glory Bringered. Unfortunately, I'm a fetch and lots of mana away from doing that, but if it does happen, I'll feel pretty safe. Really don't know what their hand could be at this point. It's not lands. It's probably not something that costs more than 6 mana. I mean, maybe they just figured their best play last turn was make 1/1s. I guess they figure that like we're kind of holding the in the graveyard Pyromancer hostage with the Clothis. Baloth. Alright, well maybe they were just hoping we would make him discard at some point. Don't really know. Alright, so we can make mana here if we want to cast both of our spells. Ooh, we drew Wrenn and 6. And now it doesn't matter. I'll just continue gaining some life. Let's eat this one. Alright, we get to Wrenn and 6, which is pretty great for us. We'll trigger Tracker twice, and probably play Goyf, just really advance the board. And now they very clearly don't have a good attack with their Bloodbraid. And I'm feeling on the safe side. Still don't really know what their hand can be if not for more clunky stuff like Baloth. So end step, I'll fetch. They could obviously have like a bolt or something in response. Yeah, James, this tracker is looking on the oppressive side. I agree. So there's the possibility that in response to a fetch, they'll kill my tracker. But I think I'm okay with that. This is just all going at Ren. All of it. Alright, so Ren is not necessarily dying. I cannot grow the Goyf at instant speed. I think I'm just going to take my my free blocks and let the Ren die. So like this is relatively free. This is relatively free. This is relatively free. Blocking here means if they have a bolt, they're not taking care of my Goyf, as instant is already in the yard. Renin 6 is dying anyway. Although if they play something with their own Clothis, I want to shut their devotion off. And if they had a bolt, the odds they would have bolted tracker a while ago are pretty high. So I think this is safe. If they've got Stomp, it's a different story. But they probably would have stomped the tracker. I think this is relatively safe. Sprawl, sure. And I do think... Alright, now they have the bolt. Sure. Alright, so I'll fetch in response. So I do think that I'm going to have to save the pulse for something like a Glorybringer or Greater Gargoth. Don't really need more red, although I wouldn't mind it. Red and green, maybe? Stomping Grounds? Say no. And then I'll just yield. So I mean, despite them 1-for-1ing the tracker, its legacy is going to live on through these clues. Okay, and we could activate the Raging Ravine and really get in. That's true. I could Maelstrom pulse their sprawls. That probably keeps them off of anything large. I think I'm attacking for 6 here. Like I really just want to get this game closed. If I activate Ravine and attack with that as well, it's 10, and then between the bolt in my hand and the Clothis on board, they are just dead. I think if they had something big, they'd almost definitely played it. They could have another bolt, which would be unfortunate. But if they had another bolt, I feel like they would have it was like they obviously had one, but I think they would have comboed it to kill multiple things. I think I'm gonna try to just get them dead, because like even if they have the bolt, and we get to hit them for 6 here, put them to 9, they're still pretty close to in range with the Clothis. And I don't think they have one other one. Yeah, they don't. Alright, so they're pretty much, as far as we know, dead on board. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about growing the Goyf at the moment. It's already the biggest thing there is. Like, there's not much they can do right now to get back, except for like play more Baloths. And if this is their big payoff, I'm glad I've got Pulse for it. What is this? No idea what this is. Alright, they do have more Baloths. I can pulse those if I need to. Clothis of your own. Alright, so I think they're just dead now. Right? Or they're not just dead. They're forced to block with everything. That's cool. Alright, so let's get rid of their... I guess we should just keep doing their stuff like this. So we can Plague Engineer naming elementals, but that doesn't clear the Baloths this turn. So let's just pulse the Baloths, which will turn off the Clothis. And then We can jam with both. If they double block the Plague Engineer, they just die. I guess in their head, they're expected to, when they untap, be at 4, so double blocking Plague Engineer might not be a crazy idea. But if they do double block the Plague Engineer to kill it, they just die. And their devotion is at 5 already. There are some combinations, I suppose, that could kill me here, but I don't know what they would be. Like, they're probably putting me to 10 and them to 7 here. Goyf plus another activation on Klothys is lethal. Maybe they can shrink it here by eating Ren. They're eating Terminate. Well, there's still an instant in the yard, so Goyf doesn't shrink. Bolt that. Yep. Alright, and that's their last thing. So they do just die. We'll kill one of their blockers and then Plague Engineer the other. And then between Klothys and the attack for 5, they die. Alright, so we just have to make sure we don't shrink the Goyf here, and we don't need a land. So there are lots of creatures. Eating Elf should do it. Hit you to 5. We'll Plague Engineer. We will name Elemental. We win. Yeah, James, I try not to get discouraged after having a few bad leagues in a row. I mean, it just happens, you know? Like, it just happens, and it also just happened. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, if something doesn't work a few times in a row, I'll try to change it up, which is why I'm playing Tracker, and it's been pretty good so far. Alright, I'm actually really, really fast going to grab another AA battery because my mouse is lagging a little bit. Yeah, I'll fix it. Oh, this is 2 AA batteries.
those ones
Much better. What's up, Techno Hippo? Oh, nice. Thanks for the raid. I was getting batteries for my my mouse, which had died. Cherry Tribal. Yeah. When you grind as hard as I do, your mouse dies. Alright, let's say yes. Let's say no. Let's say yes. The Cody Hope, thanks for the follow. And also the raid. How is the Jund versus Elementals matchup? I think it's probably pretty good for the Jund side. Alright, so what do we bottom here? I think it's just going to be Kolagon's command. Like the curve of Thoughtseize into Tarmogoyf into hopefully Liliana already seems on the strong side. Don't see a reason to break that up. Oh, hello. Right, so they've got Mine, Tower, and only one map. I guess let's try to punch that hole. I mean, turn 1, Thoughtseize into Goyf into Liliana is the way to win the Tron matchup, especially on the play. What's up? What's up, Energizer? Ironically, I just used Duracell for my mouse. Alright, Overgrown Tomb. So yes, want green for the Goyf, and obviously want double black for the Liliana. Alright, so we saw this mine. Alright, we saw the tower. It's Ballista on 1, yeah, sure. Tower, Ballista. Alright, well unfortunately all we have now is an attack. You've been seeing a lot of Tron, multiple League. Yeah, I think I've hit Tron probably like out of every 15 matches. I think I've hit it twice. Star is a new one. Stirrings, I suppose. Yep. Please no Tron land. Please no Tron land. That's the ticket. Alright, so what do we have to do now? Yikes. Alright, well, we're going to Liliana, that's for sure. And I guess we're ditching a Bloodbraid. We could minus to get this Walking Ballista off the field, but that seems not great. So let's just lead here. Do we have to just resign ourselves to hoping that these Bloodbraid hits are good enough, and we just need to get this Ballista off to get damage in? That would actually make Goyf a 6/7, right? Adding Artifact. Actually, doesn't add an Artifact. We had Creature and we had Planeswalker, assuming they shoot this in response. They've got so many cards in hand that I don't think that actually plussing is going to do much. Because they've got all of their payoffs and they've got all of their mana. I think we're just going to have to hope that stringing Bloodbraids is going to be good enough. I mean, they're at 12. We've got some hasty things that can hit other things, so let's just cross our fingers, right? Yeah, you think more people play Tron online? That's completely fair. Ugin.
Cheaper that way.
Yeah, it's true. It is cheaper that way. That's what people in the chat are saying, too.
I am the people in chat.
You're the entire chat?
I am the chat.
Alright, so we're obviously Bloodbraiding here. Unfortunately, their Worm Coil is going to put a damper on attacking. But I mean, if like both of these hit bolts, that'd be a way to win. Alright, Ren and 6, not the greatest. Can't even combo it. I think we're just on the burn plan. Let's just do 1 to you and attack you for 3. And then next turn, we have the option of either Bloodbraiding, which is probably what's going to happen, or attacking with Ravine. Maybe we should hold this land because if they Karn plus, but I mean I don't think they're gonna Karn plus. Like they're just gonna take me off of permanence. All right, let's hope. Three to that, yeah, makes some sense. Also, this Karn's just gonna do something dirty. There's the Wormy. Alright, so now the attacking plan is kind of out the window. Blackleaf Cliffs. I don't even think we have an out, but let's spin the wheel anyway. Yeah, we had to deal with that Worm Coil before it actually hit the field, like with the Thoughtseize or something. There's a Bolt. Alright, unfortunately, they're just going to attack us. So we kind of are just dead. Oh, we got a hit. Okay, right. Yeah, and this Karn has us extremely dead, as if the other two things were already unbeatable. Let's scoop it and go next. All right, we've got a good number of sideboard cards though, namely Pillage, Ashiok, Alpine Moon. Kinda it. So 5 good ones. All right, Ooze is really slow. Tracker can go pretty big. Let's take out Pushes. Those do actual nothing. We need to cut one more, maybe a Cling. I think I want all the clocks I can grab, except for maybe Ooze. Ooze is probably going to be just a bear most of the time. Let's submit this. Let's go first. I mean, it's missing the clock. I think it's just good enough. Like if we can draw a Tarmogoyf for a tracker early, I think we've got a good shot. But I mean, Thoughtseize into Liliana is one of the better hands, especially when they're mullining into 5. So that makes me feel better about it. Alright, so between Overgrown Tomb and Blood Crypt, don't really think it matters. I guess if we draw Alpine Moon, we'll want this shocked down. So they're on 4. Let's just hope they have only one route to Tron and we can take it. They have 1 land and 1 map. Let's just take the map. This way if they cast Sylvan Scrying, they'll at least have to expend the star on it. Alright, so we know about a Scrying and another. Alright, Renin 6 is good. It's at least something to do. Can't get any value off of it just yet. James asks, how do we end up against red-green? We actually 2-0'd him. Tireless Tracker proved very good versus red-green. We never actually had time to sack the clues, but they were forced to kill it and not kill our Tarmogoyf. And then that Tarmogoyf kind of pushed in for more than they could handle over the next few turns. Alright, they bricked. That's big for us. Bloodbraid, another good one. Unfortunately, we don't have a land to discard to this Liliana. I'll probably just discard Redundant Liliana. I'll probably want Kolaghan's Command to pressure their hand that much more. Also killing an artifact. And then obviously I'm not discarding Bloodbraid. That's my clock right now. Uh-oh. Alright, well they did already expend their colored source, so as long as they don't just draw the land. Alright, so let's plus Liliana. We'll discard Blackleaf Cliffs. We'll then return it with the Renin 6. Veil of Summer, sure. Alright, let's return this. And we do have Kolaghan's Command available. We could use it now to have him discard a card. But I mean, if they do rip the Tron land, they're keeping their payoff anyway. So I think I may have a better use for it, just using it to destroy an artifact. I mean, next turn we're gonna get to Bloodbreed. All right, well that lets them scry. All right, so they're gonna have Tron now. Could have had him discard in response. I mean, they're still going to discard their payoff if it's their payoff. We're also just going to leave them hellbent here. 2 to you. You discard. Because we're between this and the Liliana Plus, they won't actually get to keep anything. And it was a payoff. Alright, so let's just lead here. Hard to go wrong. We've got a pretty tough decision here as to what to discard. Clearly sarcasm. Thank you, James. Thank you, James. Alright, so we plus this as well. So we've got 2 Planeswalkers in ultimate range. They don't have Tron. We're casting Bloodbreed. Trigger. I think we got this one. Goyf, a good hit. That'll close fast. Sick. It'll close really fast, as a matter of fact. Draws a concession. Alright, so now we're going to be on the draw versus Tron, which is obviously a little harder. They don't always mulligan to, what was it, 5? Don't think I want to make any changes. I mean, I guess Cling to Dust is a 1-mana redraw, but that doesn't seem very good. Like, it doesn't seem better than many of these. Maybe it's just better than a Terminate. Just like any card is better than a Terminate. Terminate doesn't do a whole lot. I guess it kills Wormcoil, but at what cost? I don't think Klothys is going to be good here. It's a little on the slow side. Indeed, Snapcaster, solid. Alright, let's give this a go. I could see wanting Ooze, but I mean, that just seems really weak. It's a 2-2. It like, doesn't even have food in this matchup most of the time. His hand's not going to do it. Yeah. This is turn 1 Thoughtseize and turn 2 Tarmogoyf. We don't have something like an Alpine Moon, which we may want to mulligan more aggressively for. But, I mean, we've got a Pulse for the first huge thing. We've got a redraw. It's like pretty hard to keep this when I know the next option is going to 5. I think I'll just bottom the redraw, honestly. I want to keep my threats. I need things that attack. They mulliganed once, okay. Tron land. Alright, well, again, we're just going to hope that we can take their 1 route to Tron. Honestly, Tarmogoyf, not bad. It's my hardest hitter. And the fastest hard hitter. Alright, well, they don't have a route to Tron. They've got Tower, Mine, and some redraws to it. I think I'm going to let them have the redraws and just take the payoff. This Thragtusk is going to be a headache. Alright, so I'm just going to hope that the redraws don't naturally segue into it. Alright, there's the Mine. Inquisition. Well, that'll take the Sphere, but I think we really want to get some pressure down in Tarmogoyf. So that's Tarmogoyf. That'll make a 3-4. Not exactly sure why they didn't just play their other Sphere. Like maybe they wanted to hold up like a Warping Whale or something? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Add artifact. Yeah, I don't know what this would mean. Because if they wanted to dismember something, they could have done that as well. They drew it. And they drew the payoff? Jeez. That doesn't seem fair. Alright, so now what are we trying to hit? I mean, land lets us pulse it. There's the land. Doesn't seem great. But I mean, I don't think I want to just throw this other Goyf under the bus. I just have to hope that they somehow don't hit more payoffs. So I guess next turn I can Inquisition and Tarmogoyf. Yeah, it's really needed to fade, I think, and it did not happen that way. In fact, it looks like the opposite of that has happened. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we're taking the L. So what does this get? Just like the Graveyard Hate? Sanctum? Jeez, they're going big. Yeah, I think we're on a no-outer now. Alright, let's save the world some time and just scoop it up. Like, I don't think I'm beating that Worm Coil as is. Like, if I can somehow grow my Goyf large enough to trade with it, and then I can, like, 1-for-1 the little dudes. Like, I still have to dodge a bunch of draw steps after that's happened. Does not seem nearly possible. Yeah, really would have liked something like an Alpine Moon or a Pillage, but even then, Pillage would have been too slow. Pretty good on die rolls. Yeah, this hand's fine. Against a creature deck, this hand's going to be fantastic. Against a combo deck, this hand's also probably pretty fine. Less confident if it's something like Eldrazi Tron. As I'm missing a Tarmogoyf. Ooh, it's Burn. Well, this hand is fine versus Burn, too. Liliana should do a lot of work. And they kept a lot of lands. Wow. Alright, well, I think they'll end up discarding the Searing Blaze to Liliana. And I can kill one of these creatures. So between the two creatures, I think I should take the Guide. It hits me for less. Like, they'll attack for 1 with the Swift Spear. But, yeah, like, I'm just happier taking 1 less, I think. That was a mire. Alright, so do I want to terminate, or do I want a lightning bolt, or do I want a fatal push? I think I have better mana if I just use one of the one mana removal spells. So I'll just say no to this, and I'll fatal push the Swift Spear. I may end up wanting to use the bolt to win a race of some kind. We'll see what happens. There goes the Tarn. Yep. All right, so we'll go to blocks and see if this evokes anything. Guess not. And I'm not gonna pass priority and give him a chance. I'd rather just keep the 1 life. Like, if they don't do anything, I just take 1 that I don't really have to take. They have like a creature follow up. I'll Liliana minus. They don't have anything. That's really good for me. Alright, so I'm not playing Croxus. I'm feeling kind of safe getting Forest here. But Forest is really awkward with my Terminate and Lightning Bolt. And you've only got 1 red anyway, so it kind of achieves the same thing. I'm not shocking here. Let's just get Forest. Cast Liliana. We're only playing a single copy of Scavenging Ooze, so multiple green doesn't really matter a whole lot. I think I'm going to be safer and just get the Swamp. Because I do wanna discard my other fetch. So it's not like I'm just gonna get something now and expect to get another land next turn. I'm just gonna discard the fetch, keep my spells. But I mean, this game's going pretty well. We just need to find an actual clock. And I'm hoping they discard the Searing Blaze before I find a creature. But I mean, they've got plenty of lands to discard before that happens. This Liliana should do a good amount of work, though. Responding, okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Don't Boros try my Liliana. Don't do it. Which would still be kind of a gain for, but I would love for this Liliana to continue shredding the hand. Let's just yield through. Crack me. You know it's not a Searing Blaze, you got a target for that. I won't feel favored in this game until we find something like Tarmogoyf. Be great with Tarmogoyf, would be great with Tracker. Bloodbraid would be fine too. I'd obviously have to draw another land for one of those, but shock on tap. I guess they were planning on blazing like me and a Liliana, but that doesn't work. I don't know. There's the Mire. Rift Bolt enters the exile zone. Sure. Alright, I think I want to play that Ravine. It makes Bloodbraid a live draw if I hit it. Between the Bolt and the Terminate, I think I want to keep the Terminate. It's less mana efficient though. Let's just keep the Bolt. Bolt has the added incentive of it can go to the Fates if I really want it to. And like if I draw Tracker next turn and I want to play Tracker and hold up Bolt, that becomes an option. Alright, and there goes the Blaze. I guess they learned their lesson. I mean, Ravine's also a clock here. Like, if we can ever get the soft lock of make sure you're hellbent before we can attack with Ravine, we're sure it's not going to get bolted. As soon as it has that first counter on it, I'll feel pretty safe as far as it not dying goes. Yes, let me not yield until end, because I might have something. Yes, come off of suspend, targeting Liliana. I am happy with that. That's a gain 3. Really don't think it's going to come down to Liliana Ultimate. It's probably just going to split 2 in 1 land, which doesn't do anything. Sure, gain 6. That's one more thing that isn't pinning down a Ravine. Alright, pass, I guess. I mean, this is what I mentioned. I'm not really going to feel safe until I can find a threat, because giving the opponent time also seems really bad. But being at turn 5 against Burn and still being at 18 life is comforting. Tarmogoyf. More ways to kill stuff. So I think you win this game, LOL. Guide. Alright, well that isn't going to do anything. Alright, well we'll get the trigger off. I think I'll use the Terminate. This is happening no matter what, so let's just do it now. Land would be appreciated. Inquisition. I need a threat, please. Please. They may just respond and throw something at me. I mean, even an untapped land I'd be kind of okay with, because I can activate Ravine. I mean, we have Ravine's going to hit for 4, and then 5, and then 6, which is 15. So 3 combats with a Ravine is lethal, assuming they don't have a Helix. And assuming they don't kill it on the first activation. I mean, their best tools to kill it are kind of just Bolt and Helix, right? Because those are the only things that target creatures. I guess Searing Blaze too, but they need landfall. Yeah, I think the opponent may have made a mistake in going after the Liliana. Liliana kind of didn't matter there. The ultimate just doesn't really do anything. Like, sure, it answers his creatures for sure, but like in theory, his creatures have haste and they'll get in for some damage anyway. I mean, he doesn't know that, or he or she doesn't know that the creatures are just never connecting. All right, Searing Blaze makes sense. Go. Alright, well that's gonna die. Alright, so I suppose they are keeping the land in hand to enable landfall at some point. Let's kill this now. So we know the coast is clear. If we can draw untapped land, I'd even be okay shocking it to be able to attack. Alright, well I'm okay shocking it to be able to attack. And again, we know their hand is land. Why is it lagging? No. Okay, they just scoop. Sure. What did they say? I guess we'll see. Alright, so Cloth is going to be great. Brutality is obviously going to be great. We can get these two Thought Seizes out of here. I tend to like cutting Ren 6 because it doesn't actually kill anything. And like the games that it likes to play are the ones that go long and involve me sacrificing multiple fetches. That's probably not the kind of game I want to actually promote. Let's cut another one. Snackpatcher says, if only I could have foreign language cards on Moto for the one Spanish Inquisition. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could adjust my language settings, but then all of them would be Spanish. So there would be more than one Spanish Inquisition. Well, I think when you adjust the language settings, I think for you everything shows up in your selected language because it's digital. They can do that. Nobody expects the redundant copies of the Spanish Inquisition. That is true. That is true. It's the one thing they expect less than the first Spanish Inquisition is the second one, and then perhaps even less than that is the third one, and even less than that maybe the fourth one. I bet you they'd expect the fifth even less, but at that point there's a problem for more than one reason. Mouse died. Oh. Alright, well, Sand's great. We've got ways to interact with all their creatures, and we've got our best threat. They mulligan to 5. Okay. Stratton, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Got the dude. Uh-huh. Freeland? Not that lucky. Liliana's good, though. Honestly, I think I'm okay just getting basic Swamp with this. I'll use it as a pseudo scry. I mean, I guess there are things getting pushed anyway. Energized, also. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Alright, let's get our trigger. This is happening pretty much no matter what. I guess technically I should wait because there are more lands in the deck for it to hit. Cast that, target that. But if this hits a land, then I'm just a genius. I'm a genius, what can I say? Alright. That was an okay draw. I think I'm just gonna bolt this. There's no real reason to let them actually get any amount of damage off of this. If they just have fetch land, they're guaranteed to get at least 2. 2 damage in, that is. Rift Bolt has entered the exile zone. Yep. And now this Liliana should just shred apart whatever they've got remaining. Think I'm gonna just discard the Peatland. Everything else is castable. I don't think I ever intend on tapping this for mana. So, given that I don't intend on ever actually tapping it, it's probably a fine discard. Yeah, always unfortunate when you got a mulligan super low. But I mean, I guess Burn is just one of those critical mass decks where if you do have to mulligan, it just hurts a little extra. Energizer asks, how long have I been playing Magic? Why Jund? I have been playing since I learned how to play in Theros block. Oh wow, Stratton, thanks for the subscription. I really, really appreciate it. Never expected, but always welcome. Yeah, I learned to play in Theros block, but the first cards I actually owned were Khans of Tarkir. And yeah, and why Jund? I just enjoy all the interaction that it has. That resolves. I like how it's sort of a build your own adventure. There's a lot you can do with it in terms of deck building. And ooh, sorry. I cannot spell today. Alright, so if they have something like an Azusa here, I'm going to want to bolt it with some number of triggers on the stack. Right, hopefully that's good. Alright, so I guess we're casting Tarmogoyf here. Overgrown Tomb. Let's say yes. Cast our Goyphopotamus and say pass. Yeah, I just love Jund. I've been playing Jund since the banning of Splinter Twin. So I've been playing this pile for a hot minute. So you get as much as 4 mana if you want. Let me hide this chat so we can see more of the what's going on. Explore, that's rude. 2 explores. What are the odds they don't just have the Titan here? Well, I'm definitely going to use the Terminate to get rid of this Dryad if I can. They return to Forest. Okay. Dismember. Yeesh. I'm assuming it's Dismember, given their life total changing. Oh, that's right. They can make black mana. That's cute. Goyf down. Alright, so I know this is the last turn that Blackleaf Cliffs comes in untapped, and I really want to get Ravine down, so I can Bloodbraid next turn. I can still Bloodbraid off of Blackleaf Cliffs into Peatland, but I'd love to have a Ravine down, so I have at least the option of turn 5 I can attack the Bloodbraid and the Ravine. That plan probably only works long run if they somehow don't have a Titan, but I mean, I'm dying to Titan anyway. This would let me have a Bolt up, but I don't think that's giving me huge margins. I got a sub.
This doesn't fit the small windows.
It doesn't fit. I'll figure. I can help you figure it out after this.
No, yeah, I was just letting you know. I just thought it would be funny to point out that I put it here because it's stupid.
Alright, they've got the Titan, no surprise. Okay, packed for Titan, sure. Alright, I am gonna see what lands they get first, and then I'll scoop. I just want to see what kind of package they're going for. So they gave it haste. Curious as to what they get, but then I'll scoop. I'm very, very dead, I understand. They're just going for like another Titan setup. Field of the Dead. Alright, well, I guess I could have guessed that Field of the Dead was involved. Alright, let's begin sideboarding. Alright, so I've got some good ones versus them. Pillage, Ashiok, pretty great. They are playing the Dryad, so Boil can be pretty good. Alpine Moon as well, name stuff like Field of the Dead. Consideration to Brutality. I guess it'll take stuff like Summoner's Pact, but that's kind of it. Let's just see what I want to take out. Fatal Push kills Dryad, whereas Bolts don't. I don't think Cling is going to be particularly important. I also don't think Ooze will be particularly important. Along that rate, probably not Renin 6. Doesn't really kill a whole lot. I guess I am on the play, and they may end up having Sakura Tribe Scout. I think I like taking out the Ooze. Definitely not taking out Goyfs. Terminate may actually have some uses. We saw that I used it to kill a Dryad last turn, and I've had it come up multiple times where like they cast a 6/6 Titan, they don't search because of Ashiok, and then I can terminate it. So I mean it combos with some stuff, but I do need one cut. Maybe it's Tracker because it's on the slower side. It's more of a grindy tool, similar to Seasoned Pyromancer. I think with the Boils in the deck, I really want to hit that 4th land consistently, so I'm not really into cutting a Renin 6, especially since I'm on the play. Maybe it is just Tracker. How many actual threats does that give me, though? It's 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 3 is 9. It's not a lot. But I mean, they have a hard time killing the threats, so if I can find even 2, I'll feel pretty safe. I think I'm okay giving this a go. Submit. That's the power of a raid. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to go first. Yikes. Alright, so we got 2 of our best sideboard cards, but no lands to cast them, so obviously gotta send it back. This is a hand. I don't think I want to go to 5 when I've got a sideboard card as good as this one. I mean, you've got turn 2 Goyf, you've got turn 3 Tracker. That's on the slow side. No early disruption definitely makes me nervous, but I think it'd be kind of hard to ship this. I guess one of our better draws next turn would be something like, well, now it's definitely Hardened Scales, which is what I was gonna say anyway, because we want to try to get to our boil. So if we get Stomping Ground now, we can go Swamp, Tarmogoyf, and then plan on getting Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I don't know, an okay amount. You're gonna want double Black Thrash, yeah. Come on, Hardened Scales. I guess it's better late than never. It's probably better to just do that. Like I think taking their pressure is pretty important, but also I want to lay down my own pressure. What my plan now is I'm gonna get my Goyf down and then Inquisition next turn over Tracker. So would have obviously been much better last turn, but what you're gonna do? No islands yet. Attack. Attack. Dang, they're smart. Alright, well, I think I'm kind of priced into Inquisitioning here. I mean, if they had a 3-drop, odds they would have cast it are kind of high, right? So they gotta just put a land in. I guess not if it's a tap land. I mean, Inquisitioning here also is gonna grow the Goyf, and effectively increase the clock, same as if I'd played Tracker. And if I see a ridiculous hand, I can sack and Inquisition again. All right, so let's attack. It's a lot of Titans. Yeah, looks like we would have had a very good shot with the one mana interaction, but as it stands, I think we're in hot water. Thoughtseize doesn't even let us take both Titans. There's the forest again. So they get to just Titan now. Yeah, that's really bad for me. So yeah, they're just gonna set up Field of the Dead. Yeah, this is looking pretty lost. Unfortunate. And I'm not dead yet, however unlikely. If I draw a way to kill this Titan exactly this turn, I guess I am still just dead, because next Titan is going to be setting up the Field of the Dead. So yeah, I am just very, very dead. Like, I need Thoughtseize and Terminate somehow next turn, and it's just not possible. Alright, so that wraps up this league, pretty sure. Alright, cool. So we ended up at a 3-2, I believe. Yep. Alright, so I'm going to do my my deck wrap up for those who are newer here. At the beginning of the match and at the end of the match, I kind of do a whole deck theory spiel and try to explain what I did to build the deck and why I made those decisions and how those decisions seemed to play out in the league. So experimentally, we were playing 3 Tireless trackers, which was the consideration that we needed more closing power and a way to keep up with all the value generating decks that contain Uro, which there are a lot of. It's the most popular deck currently. And I feel like Tireless Tracker kind of fits that bill pretty well. Comparing it immediately to Seasoned Pyromancer, I Tracker, I think, has the benefit of being able to win the game all on its own. The YouTube plug is coming. Don't worry, Snapcaster. The YouTube plug is coming. So the Tracker definitely, I think it worked out. Against Gruul, it did a really good job. We didn't actually play against anything Uro containing this league, but it did well. It comboed with the Ren and 6, I think twice, and it worked out. I liked the split of 3 push, 3 bolts. The Cling to Dusts were fine this league. There wasn't really a matchup this league where they really shined, but they did redraw, and it actually did come up versus Ponza where they tried to target a land with their Clothis to get mana, and then we just sniped it out of the yard and drew a card, and that was pretty cool. The K command was fine, the Pulse was fine. The Blood Braids also were fine. Again, I made the room for the trackers in cutting 1 Blood Braid, cutting 1 Liliana, cutting 1 Ooze. Was nervous cutting an Ooze, but Cling to Dust fills a similar role, so we don't really have a hole in the plan there. And then Blood Braid, in terms of like card generation and overall value, they do a similar thing in just generating the value that we need. So cutting 1 there seemed pretty okay. And then I cut a Liliana because I didn't want to cut K commands or Maelstrom Pulses, and it just seemed like a nice curve consideration to cut it that way. And then the sideboard performed pretty okay. The Alpine Moons would have been great had we seen them. Clothis was great. Spell Bombs we didn't actually see. The Brutalities we didn't actually see. Ashiok we didn't see. The Plague Engineers we did see, and they were great. And the Boil we saw but never had a chance to use. So that's going to be it for this league. Time for the YouTube plug. If you like videos and or content like this and you would like to see more, this is league number 23. So there are already 22 other pre-recorded videos already on my YouTube channel. You can find the link to that YouTube channel in the biography of my Twitch page. So if you just hit escape if you're watching full screen and just scroll down a little bit, you should see it right there. If you're already watching this on YouTube and you want to catch my recording sessions live, you can do so on Twitch at Junderdome. You can find the link to that in the description of the video that you are currently watching. So again, thanks to all for tuning in, and I hope you have a good one.